So my goal is to bulk up to 220 pounds, which is 100 kilograms. And I've never even hit 200 pounds before, which is about 95 kilograms. And, or it's about 90, I think, or 90, yeah. I've never hit 200 pounds before, and I'm 6'1", so it's not super heavy for someone my size. I've bulked up to 194 pounds, but then felt too fat and then quit just before I hit the 200 pound goal. Then on a different bulk, I bulked up to 196 pounds and then quit and then started cutting again. This time I'm about 190 right now. I'm about 88 kilograms or maybe 195. So it's about as heavy as I've been so far. So I'm gonna hit 200 undoubtedly. But then just before coming here, I'm not gonna lie, I started to get temptations of like cutting again. You know, like you're on Instagram, you see some pretty looking boy who's got like a nice six pack and a jawline, and you start getting like the desire for that, or at least I do. So just before I came here today, I ended up going to meet my friends for lunch. We went out for this like fancy steak restaurant. It was lovely. I took like two of the pro fighters out here, just talking about like content and fighting and everything. But then when I came home, I ended up eating again, and I got like so full, and my stomach is like bloated right now. I'm like full and everything. And when I ended up going onto Instagram to message a friend, I'm not gonna lie, I ended up like scrolling on content, which happens sometimes, and I saw some like looksmaxxing posts. So looksmaxxing is like this kind of like, I don't know, a trend or a hobby or something where you try and maximize your appearance, your face, your hair, your physique to be more attractive to the opposite sex. And it's gotten very popular in like this culture of like young men's self-improvement. And there's a traditional looksmaxxing style, which is being leaner, having a nice jawline, and having like longer hair with like pretty hair, kind of like my cameraman. It's like, like nice pretty boy hair and like clean shaven or whatever. And particularly being lean and not being like a big bodybuilder, but just having like decent physique, a six pack, but not being massive. That's often what's more attractive to girls. And I kind of started to feel pulled towards that, which is, I'm sure it happens to you and to so many guys who are watching. Like you'll see a bit of content like this, Black Pill or some fitness guy or whatever, and you start getting pulled towards like, oh man, I need to get lean, I need to get bigger, I need to change my hairstyle, I need to do this. And by all means, like go ahead and improve your appearance, because appearance is a big part of life. I will never lie to you and say that it's not, and I actually fully believe you should maximize your appearance. But just be careful of where it's coming from. Because if it's coming from a place of like insecurity, of like trying to fit into whatever the trend is, it reminds me a lot of like what I imagine like insecure little girls are like. Like, here's an interesting thing for you to think about. You know how looksmaxxing is super popular for guys? I really think we're getting close to how girls have had like the whole focus on their appearance. Like when we were all in high school and primary school, it was girls who had so much pressure on how they looked, how skinny they were, what makeup they were wearing, what clothes they were wearing. And like 90% of guys didn't care. Like I'm talking about when I was in high school. These days, girls have to care about their appearance, but what's interesting is guys really are as well. Like back in my day, you didn't, the most you ever did was like gel your hair. That was it. And it wasn't even like an attractive hairstyle. No one ever thought about the shape of your eyelids or, your jawline or anything. It was just the most surface level basic things of like long hair or short hair, six-pack abs. That was it. No one ever really thought about like maximizing the V-taper, the aesthetic body, and bone smashing. Like that's a fucking trend where guys are getting like rocks or hammers and like fucking banging their cheekbones to like change the shape of the fucking like their skull, which is fucking insane, right? So guys are giving themselves like mini traumatic wounds on the face to try and become a little bit more attractive. Like there's some things I understand, right? 100% stay groomed, never ever smell, always put on like, nice like natural deodorants and stuff, maybe a bit of perfume here and there. Like fragrances aren't very healthy for you. Someone can explain for me in the comments if people are wondering, and maybe I'll talk about it at another time. Yeah, like, and okay, fine, put some stuff in your hair, like some wax or some oils or whatever. Get a good physique. But I feel like so many guys are really getting into like the superficial things in life. superficial, like just focusing on your appearance, focusing on followers, clout, likes, focusing on the girl who's most attractive instead of the girl who has the best character. This is going to sound so strange, but my life changed after a conversation with ChatGPT just a few days ago. I asked it, if you were the devil, how would you weaken men like me, men in our generation? And one of the things it said is, I would make men like you focus on superficial things like materialism and appearance. And when it said that, I was like, holy shit, like the rise of like looksmaxxing. And the thing is, look, we can even argue like, but wait, is it superficial anymore when really looksmaxxing unlocks love? Like, think about that. Looksmaxxing unlocks love. That's the point of society that we've got to now, where you are, or at least men are, completely based on their appearance first and then their character second. Now, I won't lie, women have already had this, this problem for the last like maybe forever. But it's just interesting seeing why it's recently happened to men. Being the man with the best character, being a man who is super kind and respectful and hardworking, makes you a wanker. And I mean, like, in the literal sense of like a guy who's just masturbating, right? There's so many good men out there who would actually be such good boyfriends and husbands, and they all have to watch porn and jack off instead of having girlfriends. Because the guys with girlfriends and the guys with multiple girls, like the guys who just pound a different girl every night, they actually often have quite toxic traits, but they're just attractive. They just get a lot of matches on dating apps. They just walk around and get like, attract the female gaze, and they attract a girl when they're walking past, and the girl shows like a indicator of interest. And it's just interesting that like these days you can get more girls by not being a good man, but just by caring more of your appearance. So then, does this mean, okay, we should just focus on our appearance and not really develop our character? Why not just do both? Right? If you're an ambitious, hardworking man, if you're like super ambitious and you want the best of life, why not do both? Why not have an appearance that makes you feel really proud of yourself, whilst also, just being careful to not get to the point where you feel kind of like weirdly self-conscious and insecure? Like there's the version of you that's improved his appearance and feels like really happy about how he looks. But there's also the version of you that never feels happy about how he looks, but has still improved his appearance. You get what I mean, right? It's kind of like you get into the gym. There's some guys who see progress and they're like, oh man, yeah, biceps are looking good. And there's other guys who are like, oh man, still not big enough, one more inch. Like I have a friend who's a big fucking bodybuilder, right? 220 pounds, 230 pounds. And he's huge. He's huge. His chest is like twice the size of mine. And it was funny, but it was sad, right? There was a time when me and him were taking a picture together, like a shirtless picture in the mirror. And we looked sick. Imagine two fucking jacked guys in this gym, pumped up, looking sick. Maybe I'll try and remember to show you a picture, right? And when I showed it to him, I was like, bro, we look like God, we look sick. This is all, like, we look like Greek gods, like the statues. This is amazing, right? The first thing he said was, yeah, but I've still got a few more kilograms to lose. And I burst out laughing because of how like stereotypical it was of like a bodybuilder who like, just never feels like he's at that point. And the interesting thing is I made this joke, but he didn't really respond to it too much. But I bet like, I said something like, I bet you've been saying that for 10 years. Like, oh yeah, just a little bit more shoulder, then I'll be happy. Just a little bit more bicep, then I'll be happy, right? And this is the exact cancerous mindset that people have with money. I'm telling you right now, if you expect to become successful and rich in the future, there's going to be a version of you that's like, oh man, just another $1 million, then I'll be happy, then I'll be happy, then I'll be happy. It's like this deferring happiness and fulfillment and joy for the future version of us that has more of like the sort of resources that we can acquire, like the bicep size or the hair length or whatever. There's something to be said about being grateful and content, but still striving for more. So for example, it's like waking up and seeing, oh man, like I'm so much more attractive than I used to be. This physique is awesome compared to where I started out, and I'm so grateful for that. I still have goals for the future, but I'm grateful and happy at where I am today, because I am like where I'm supposed to be, based on when, like the timeline, like when I discovered looksmaxxing or bodybuilding or whatever, to now, where I'm supposed to be, so I'm happy for that. I'm grateful for where I'm at. I can appreciate it. I can smile. I can, have like love towards my younger self who built this for me, the physique and, the looks or whatever. But I still will strive and build more for my future self because I'm sure that he'll be grateful for me. Do you see how like we can have the best of both? We can have the superficial appearance, money, followers, likes, all these things, which are kind of like, just not modern day, but you get my point, like the superficial success. But we can couple that with good mental health so that we strive for more, but at least we're not like, like this sort of depressed, insecure girls are, like about their like weight or their body fat levels or something. Like girls have just wasted so much time overly thinking about this. And maybe that's not terrible because women are quite heavily judged just in the basis of sex and relationships on their appearance. But men really shouldn't be. Like for a society to function well, like we can get deep as fuck, right? So we've covered some surface level shit, which is like, yeah, looksmaxxing, whatever. But we can cover something which is really fucking interesting, which is like, if you've ever looked into why nations fall, why countries rise and fall, we haven't really seen that in our lifetimes, right? We've never seen like a country completely rise and fall. But that happens. And I think a lot of people in our generation don't actually expect it to. We don't expect to experience like a real war like on our side, right? We hear of these wars in like the Middle East or something and it's kind of far away. We've never really had one in our own countries. But there are predictions that it will happen. And one of the things that predict that is that the losing side will have men who become more feminine, effeminate, and focus more on superficial things like their appearance instead of becoming strong, hard men. In America, and even a little bit in the UK, we have children who are there like 5 years old, questioning their gender. Whether that's right or wrong is your own judgment. I don't want to lose my YouTube channel already. But it's interesting because you'd expect in other countries which develop men in a masculine way, there's no such questioning. There's no time spent on superficial things like their appearance. They're just told to work extremely hard and to be contributors of society. Let me just implant this seed into your mind right now, that the world is going to change dramatically, like chaotically, violently over the next 10 to 20 years. The world order as we know it, like the pecking order, the dominance hierarchy of the world with the US at the top, is not going to stay the same. I can't imagine it to, and the books that I've read and the research that I've done, I can't imagine it to. So I know this sounds really creepy and strange to talk about, but actually it completely makes sense why I'm talking about the rise and fall of nations and the weakening of men causing the falling of that nation in this like vlog series, because this is why I'm particularly here, and I'm doing things that are hardening me. I'm doing things that are challenging me and showing me like the most capable, masculine, disciplined version of myself. You'll realize, and maybe we'll talk more about this as time goes on, but for now I can just push you towards like the places which I've researched. The book Hard Times Create Strong Men by Stefan Ernio. The YouTube video, The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. It's like an animation video. The book Why Nations Fall. Have a look at some of these resources which I just mentioned. You might start to get a little bit scared of what's going to happen in the next like 5, 10, 15 years. Honestly, it might actually keep you up at night, as it did for me when I first discovered like this pattern of what happens. And it's scary as fuck, because it's going to sound weird for me to conclude on this before we go train. But the rise of guys who are overly caring about things like their hairstyle and their appearance symbolizes a country that is weakening and that may end up falling within a few decades max. It sounds silly as fuck. Some people will be watching this thinking this guy's a maniac, he's crazy. But I'm just telling you from what I've read from some of these books and these videos. When people start spending more time on pleasure, what you've got to understand is like not every country is like that. Remember, the world is still like a PvP zone. You know, PvP is like player versus player. The world is still like a player versus player. The world is not friendly. There's other countries that would happily fucking invade yours. And just because we haven't seen like a mass like invasion or war just yet in our lifetimes doesn't mean that there will not be one. Think of every man that you know who's like over 18. Would you want to fight alongside them? The guy who spent the last year focused on his hairstyle? Would you want him to be the guy who has to watch your back in the war? These are questions for you to ask. And then finally, if you do want to feel more masculine and want to feel like you're fitting in more with other guys, ask yourself one final question. Do you think other guys would want you to watch their back? Or would they look at you like that sort of effeminate TikTok boy kind of guy and think, man, he's not even a man, I don't want him next to me. He'll probably like accidentally shoot himself or he'll accidentally shoot me. That's how you're viewed by men. I could be completely wrong. I could be just talking out of my ass here. But I've read some interesting things. Those books that I've mentioned, if you just go read them, start with Hard Times, Create Strong Men. That book is phenomenal. And it'll break down what's happening in society, and it's very interesting. The weakening of men is going to cause a lot of problems, but the strengthening of a certain group of men is going to result in a lot of positive outcomes. That's what we're aiming to be here. We're aiming to become the strong men who are developing ourselves with discipline so that we can create the good times for others. Let's go do this kickboxing session now.
Same, bro. Warming up. Today, I think we'll refresh over the parries, bro. Parrying and blocking this side. But when we're blocking, we're gonna like load, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, just so we're not like this. Yeah, take a little bit of boom. So we're gonna work on the parry here. Boom, parry counters, and then like rather than just shelling up for a block, work like boom, rolling with the block here, catch, boom, and yeah. So I throw like a right hand at you. No, you're gonna catch it here, boom, and roll with it, yeah, boom, and you're gonna load yourself. So if you throw a right hand at me, boom, boom, yeah, bro, yeah, do a little bit of that. Cool, just like warming into it, yeah, finding your flow, full extension, keeping your arms nice and solid, yeah, pivoting as well, pivoting on every shot. I don't mind this way, either that or that, I don't mind. Here, yeah, here. A little bit more front foot as well. Boom, here. Yes, bro, yeah. That's gonna help your shoulders rotate back and you pull your weight into the front leg. So when you throw your two, or you throw whatever shot before your hook, could be your uppercut, could be your two. It's pretty much all there is, but there's right hooks and shit. But boom, your weight's boom, here, in the front leg, yeah? I rotate my shoulder back, boom. Then I pull it into the back leg on the hook, and that's where your power's gonna get. Boom! Yeah? That's where your power's gonna go. Boom, yeah, but sit your weight down. Sit your weight down. What are you doing, lad? What are you doing? Walk up the stairs. Bro, what is this guy up to? Should we just go hit some bench, bro? Should we just go hit some bench?
Let's do some of my shit, bro.
Everyone's just admiring you, bro. Everyone's either admiring you or reckon like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't even reckon I can do it, bro. I don't even want to try and do it, bro. The fuck? Oh, bros come with vengeance. Alright. Proper.
God, do yours again.
No, we gotta learn to sit tight, bro. That's why we're doing this drill. Alright. Nah, nice and light, bro. Nice and light. Hands nice and tight. Good. Back, back, back. Good. Good. Just get used to feeling the shots, yeah? Good, and placement of the shots, yeah? So mixing it up. Boom, feel your up, feel your body. Boom, yeah. Good. Ba, 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 ba. Good. Yeah, range. What? Nice. Oh, sneaky bastard. Ba, boom. Good. Ba, ba, boom. Good. Good. Now come with a 3 after that, yeah? Ba, ba, boom, ba. Good. Come with a low. Good. Don't always just walk forward. Yeah. Ba, 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 ba. Good. Ba, 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 ba. Good. Ba, ba, boom, boom, boom. Good. 5 more, yeah? Ba, ba, boom, boom, boom. Good. 3 more. Ba, 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 ba. Good. 2 more, yeah? Ba, 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 ba. Good. 1 more. Ba, 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 ba. Boom. Beautiful. Breathe. Oh, finally, bro. Bruising me up. Kicking me twice a day, lad, and I'm finally bruising up. Ba, 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 ba. Good. Yeah. Ba, 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 ba. Good. Balance. Ba, 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 ba. Good.
You go.
No, I'm camera shy, bro. Nah, what I was saying. Nah, what I was saying, bro, is like one of my favorite things about training with you, beside the fact that like we're putting in the fucking work, is like just seeing what you got up to last night, bro, because you live a fucking mental life, you know what I mean? So like, for example, I'm like, what'd you get up to last night? He's like, yeah, I had 3 birds over. I'm like, fucking hell, lad.
When a woman sees you as like the fuck boy, that's when they actually tell you the truth. As much as I don't want my boys to be degenerates, but there's something to be said of the experience of being able to convey yourself as like a fuckboy, because that's the only time that I believe that women actually tell you the truth. The guys who unfortunately are the good boys, you're at risk for presenting yourself in a way that your woman will lie to you.
Yeah.
This girl, she could have lied to me, but she didn't, and it's kind of obvious why, right? Because
like hitting hard, bro, like,
but do you want me? Because all of us have had this point, right? Not everyone has been cheated on fully. But a lot of guys have had some bullshit with, the girls kind of texting another guy, and it's kind of cheating, but it's not as bad as, being fucking pounded, right? And I remember my first girlfriend, right? And she was a sweetheart as well. I still say this to this day, right? She was like not a hoe or anything. She had like 2 boyfriends and 1 hookup before me. But I caught her texting one random guy once. And just because I had kind of read into this stuff of like, red pill and fucking and stuff, the gut feeling was there, right? And I was like, no, who is this guy? She's just like a friend from back home. Pressed it hard, kept on pressing it. Eventually, it's the guy who she fucked, and she was still talking to him with me. And she didn't even see it as like a bad thing up until, I made it out to be like a bad thing. But I would have never actually known unless I had this kind of like understanding. That's why, like, as much as like I don't want to promote degeneracy, there's definitely still lessons that I've learned, like standing on the hot coals, that would be valuable for guys to listen to. So I apologize if this sounds like, we're talking about degenerate shit. I met a girl last night, whatever. Yeah. But it's actually valuable, right? Because what I'm trying to do is help. Like the good men who are watching this. 18-year-old guy, he just wants his wife and kids. He wants to be like a good member of society. But he should know, bro, it's like, women you meet are probably going to lie to you. They're not going to tell you the full details. Like this girl told her husband that she only kissed this other guy, but she got fucked by him. And she told me the truth because she knew that I wouldn't judge her. So this is like a weird manipulative tactic, but it is very powerful.
But you are like secretly judging her.
Of course I am. Yeah, of course. Oh, I'm judging. I'm judging more than everyone, bro.
But you just act like you're cool as and
So this is the tip, right?
Yeah,
this is the
that's-
tip
oh,
for
that's
guys.
jokes,
No matter what woman it's with, you've got to start off with seeming like kinda a little bit sex positive and not judgmental towards her past. Because if you seem judgmental towards her past, she will always lie to you. Even like the most good, upstanding girls are honestly are complete liars when it comes to this topic. And we all know why, right? And even women know why. Women will say body count doesn't matter, but there's a reason why they'll always lie about it, right? But the thing is, they only lie to certain guys. They lie to the boyfriends and to the husbands who have shown themselves to be good men. That's it. And it's like, bro, isn't it like weird that like a girl can have been married, but the fuckboy gets her most raw, authentic experience?
Yeah, bro, it's hitting, bro. Your chat's hitting like a little bit close to home, bro.
As a good guy, you want to be loving towards your girl. You want to be treating her and everything. One of the things I found, which is a really good indicator to find out what kind of girl you've got, is to see what happens to the sexual attraction she has with you when you act more like a secure boyfriend and husband. So the sexual attraction doesn't necessarily need to be the sex. That's the thing, right? So basically, see what happens to your sexual attraction or hers to you, whether it's with sex or, just like you can see that she's kind of like horny for you when you buy her flowers, when you take her out. See what happens, because every girl's going to be super happy you did that. But just notice how kind of wet she gets for you. Maybe even metaphorically if you're not at the age to have sex or anything. Just see, because what I've found is a really good indicator of quality in a woman is when I treat them as like the husband. I treat them, as like my wife. I'll take them out more. I'll be more like secure and loving and authentic. I've noticed that their sexual attraction goes down, and then they first ever time they start saying no to me when we're having sex.
When you say that though, you feel like it's over time. Like
Oh,
obviously,
it's almost sudden.
yeah.
So it's like
You think like you buy them,
and then tomorrow she says no to.
cause yeah. Oh, I would assume that like you buy them flowers, like you're more than likely you're fucking that night.
You'll fuck that night.
Yeah.
Within a few days.
Within a few, yeah, and then it'll,
It's
yeah.
like, I'm sore, I'm tired, whatever. And she's never said that before.
It's like when you first, yeah. It's when you first meet a girl as well, and you're like, sex is fucking awesome, bro. But then like, after like a few months or a few years even, like, it does get like, like it dries up, it gets stale, bro. Like,
Look, and this is advice that I've given out, and so many people hated me for this. So get this right. Earlier this year, I got mass hate because I said that you should keep up the sexual attraction in your relationship by continually going on dates and like acting like the James Bond version of you, like the charming version of you that's like talking slowly. It's like I fucking, like being flirting and stuff.
with your girl.
Yeah, like in a relationship. So I was saying like, listen, okay, you take your girl out on a date, talk with like that deep, sexy voice. I fuck her, like stare at her ass, wolf whistle as she walks past, right? I swear to God, like 10 different YouTube channels and hundreds of comments started attacking me saying like, oh, Hamza doesn't know anything. And I was like, bro, I saw all of them. Everyone was like, oh, he doesn't know, he's manipulative, it's inauthentic, it's cringe, he said act like James Bond. I saw every single one and I was like, bro, the entire world is wrong. The entire world is wrong and I'm right.
I feel like that would work, like, just like thinking about that, bro. I feel like that would work quite well, bro. You know what I mean?
It's what your girl wants, right?
Yeah,
it's
bro, like, you're showing,
friendly, you're wholesome, that's awesome, right? But like once a week, bro, you take her out and you don't talk like friends.
Yeah, you don't-
talk like
or
a
you-
man who wants to still court her.
Yeah. You don't talk like fucking what bills you got to pay next week, and
and shit like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I said like on that day, be mysterious. When she says like, oh, how was work today? You don't tell her, oh yeah, so me and James practiced the left high kick and like he hit me a few times and my leg kind of hurts from last time because that guy, you don't do that. You're like, yeah, it was so good, baby. And you're like, you fucking, you know what I mean? You get my point, bro. Like you use the sexy voice. She says like, oh, how was your day today? What did you do? And you'd be like, I did really fun things today, but I'm not allowed to tell you. She's like, well, why can't, you know what I mean? It's like, girls love that shit, bro. I think like, it was all these little fucking virgins online who were like, oh, that's so inauthentic, bro. My argument to that, if this is inauthentic, is like, but so is not farting in front of a girl. That's inauthentic. Because the most authentic caveman version of you burps and farts all the time, right? You even shit yourself, right?
Yeah.
But it's like we don't, because you're going to keep up some level of class, right? Yeah, so it's like, so none of us are going to be 100% authentic, because it's little bit gross to do that.
How when when do you get to the point like when you're starting to do that shit? Yeah, in front of your bird. See, I'm not really like I don't really ever get into it. Or I like with my ex, my ex of 5 years, bro. Like she was my girlfriend of 5 years, obviously, bro. But even if I'm seeing a chick for like months and months, I'm not like.
That's better. Right?
I'm not like that, bro. Like.
You're gonna get hate for this.
They're gonna.
Male who's scared of methane gas or whatever the fuck it is. Like,
yeah,
he's scared
bro.
of farting.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe, bro.
bro.
Maybe. But there's definitely like a time, bro. Like you ain't doing that shit on like your fucking first week, bro. She's gonna look at you like you're some fucking.
But why do it even long term, right? It's like, look, I don't swear in front of my parents. I've known them for all my life. I don't swear in front of them, right?
Yeah.
I don't like if I don't swear in front of my parents, I don't want to like fart in front of a girl that I want to keep horny for them. I think the problem lies in most guys who enter more of like a sort of depolarized, like, you know, like a defunct sexual relationship with a woman which turns into like a friendship. And like, I don't know, maybe if I'm like sexist, this is just my values. I'd rather make the priority of the relationship our sexual energy, the romance, right? Because it's like, look, people say like, oh, I just want like a best friend. It's like, bro, I've got friends, and like, quite frankly, I'd rather hang out with the guys. Like maybe like people think that's like, you know what's interesting? Every masculine guy I know agrees with me, but it's like kids on the internet, and you know, like these fucking like little dweeby influencers. They're always like, you know what I mean? Like there'll be some married guy who's sitting in like a shit car, and he's like, oh, actually, Hamza, like I'm married, and it's like, yeah, but like you have sex like once every week. What are you on about? Trying to teach me? Like, do you know what I mean? Even I have sex with your girl more than you do. And she tells him just the kiss. Like.
Or she goes home and doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
She says that she's out with the girls. You know what I mean?
It's only when he gets the gut feeling and he
yeah.
and stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, it's just the.
But then, how often is that as well? You know what I mean? That's. I feel like it's quite rare where you're actually gonna catch your bird out on it. Yeah.
But I think it happens a lot.
Like they get caught.
I was in this Airbnb once, and it had like a ton of books on the side, and one was called Sperm Wars, and it was like how our biology is made to cheat, or how specifically a woman's is, and it's like complex shit, so I can't explain it fully. But basically, every like sexual part of a woman's body is made to hide who the father is of a baby. It's like she's made to ovulate not on the exact same day, but on different days, which help her to cheat. She's made to like I couldn't explain it because I read this book a year ago, but basically the summary was like women's bodies are made to basically hide cheating and also to promote them to cheat as well, and to hide it biologically. This is why like there's no way to find out who the father is up until the baby is born. You know, there's no way to like check beforehand, right? It's like as a woman, you know the baby is yours because it's inside of you. But there's no way to know which man has made her pregnant, right? It's like two guys can fuck her on the same day, and you won't know till 9 months later. See, this is why you can't be a degenerate, bro. There's realities to this shit, and it's like you don't realize like because there's so many guys who want this lifestyle, right? And they don't realize, bro. It's like once you've been like this for like years, it's kind of like who you are. It's kind, you know, it's almost like a half addiction where like. We come like, you know, just like fucking girls and stuff. Like, you know, like me and you complain about it every morning. We're like, oh man, like stayed up late and everything, and like, you know, this girl, that girl and stuff. It's the same with the guys who are watching porn, bro. It's like, it's, you know, I was thinking in a weird way, it might be worse.
Because like, yeah, I agree, and it's like when you're actually with a chick as well, you're fucking staying up mad late, like going to bed at like for example, me and Hamza train early in the morning, like 8 o'clock. So I'm up at like 6:30, bro. Some nights if you're doing that shit, bro, like you ain't getting to bed till like 1:30, like. If you're doing the full thing, you're meeting them at like 9, 10. Yeah, bro. Like you meet, like, you know, like what's the time now, bro? It's fucking like 7:30, bro. You got to go home, you shower, you talk for a little bit, bro. Next thing you know, it's fucking 11. Start shagging, bro, and fuck 12:30, bro. Fuck 1. Fuck. And then you wake up and just feel like shit the next day.
And one of the things I've been saying is like you can't ignore the realities of, like, you know, the consequences of your actions, right? It's easy to say like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I stayed up late on a date with a girl yesterday, or I stayed up late like jacking off, or watching some movies, relaxing, whatever. But the truth is, like, the champion version of you isn't doing that. Do you know? It's like the version of me that deserves to win this fight in like 6 months' time. He's like nipping this shit out ASAP, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it is a big distraction, like, and when you do get close to that, fight time, whenever that may be, we're aiming for like 6 months. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure a few months out, you'll probably go quite fucking quiet, you know what I mean? Like, fucking full monk mode, you know what I mean?
That's it, man. Yeah, the last thing I'll say before we wrap up is, what's the goal? I've been suggesting to my students, right, get this, like, I think most guys would be better off doing the two extremes. And the two extremes are complete, basically, single, and also not getting girls at all. Not thinking about them, not even trying to attract them. No Instagram, no Tinder, no, like, texting, FaceTime. Literally just ignore girls, but in monk mode, right? Or wholesome relationship where she's got potential to be like girlfriend, wife. I think both of those is really valuable for a guy. Anything in the middle, like casual dating, casual sex, hooking up, flirting with random girls, long distance relationship, casual girlfriend who you don't really think you'd be with a few years from now. All of that is just a distraction. And then the only benefit of it, what people say, is like, oh, but I'm getting experience. But that's like, imagine, it's kind of like, but you're not getting experience for the real thing, though. It's like if we're going to fight kickboxing, but we're training boxing. We can say, oh, you're getting some experience. Yeah, fine, but it's a different rule set, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, the experience you need for the good girls is quite different from the experience with, like, the D-Gen girls.
For sure, but how do you think about, like, do you find, like, there has to be a good balance, though? Because some people go, like, they'll go monk mode, but do you think they go monk mode because they use it as an excuse because they can't pull? You know what I mean? Like, being able to talk to girls and shit is fucking, like, healthy, bro, and it's like a big skill. You know what I mean? And I think, like, the amount of guys, and, like, probably, like, I would like to say I'm a lot more confident now, been moved to Bali, been living here for a year and a half. Obviously, you're having interactions every single day. But, like, I feel like most guys would overestimate their ability to talk to girls by fucking, like, thousands of %, bro, you know what I mean? Like, most people would have absolute freakouts. Or, like, your classic, like, your geek. Maybe he's like, yeah, I'm like, I don't talk to girls, blah, blah, blah. But if a girl, like, actually, like, put themselves, like, at him, you know what I mean? He'd probably fucking jump on it, like, ASAP, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's, like, so in self-improvement, like, this culture, we've got a lot of guys who are like this, who are like, oh, like, dating's a waste of time and stuff. And I understand their arguments. But like you said, it's like, okay, imagine the guy who says, like, dating and girls are a waste of time, sex is bad and stuff. Let's say we plant, like, a pretty attractive girl naked in his bed who wants to fuck him. Is he really going to hold up with that same belief, bro? Let's say this girl wants to be with him and she wants to have sex with him every day. Is he still going to hold this belief? Do you know what I mean? It's easy for the guy. It's like easy for a broke guy to be like, yeah, money doesn't even matter. It's easy for, like, a little virgin, little nerd to be like, oh, guy, pussy ain't all that. And the thing is, like, those things are kind of true. Like, pussy ain't all that. Money isn't all that. But you've got to know why you're saying that. Because if it's coming from a place of scarcity in the sense that, like, you don't have those things, you can't get those things, so now you're kind of, like, pushing them away. Sometimes you've got to be honest to yourself and saying, like, actually, you know what? In my dream life, I'd have sex, like, 5 times a day. But then you can start breaking down, oh yeah, but not yet, because it's exam season. Not yet, because I'm growing my business. Not yet, because I don't really meet any good girls that I actually want to be with. I only wanted to be with a good girl, not a D-Gen girl.
Do you think that most people, like, most people that say, like, girls are a waste of time and stuff, like, do you think they're virgins? Like, most of them? Yeah.
And the thing is, look, they're not wrong as well. But I do think a lot of it is, like, the sort of, the insecurity and bias of, like, oh, I can't get it, so they're all hoes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because, like, bro, if women are all hoes, then why aren't they hoes for you?
Yeah, bro, exactly. So it's a bit of, like, you gotta, like, check yourself a little bit, you know what I mean?
It's still not a good thing. Like, I still don't recommend being a D-Gen or anything. Well, then, any last words?
Nah, bloody good session, bro. Fucking keen to get back at it tomorrow and store, man.
Nice one, boys. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.